Well, we go to what the f is wrong with Tucker? What? Tucker Carlson went from defending Charlie Kirk's legacy.
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith.
To fighting with Ted Cruz.
Hold up.
To blaming the Jews.
Wait a minute.
And then gets caught lying about calling Trump the Antichrist.
What the fuck?
What? I'm Jazz Berganzo, and this, oh, have the mighty have fallen.
Loser!
Tucker Carlson is truly a clown show. But it's what's next. What's up, everyone? Jazz Berganzo, what's next? Your daily dose, facts, common sense, and salt. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Thursday. Well, it's been a few days. I know a number of people have done this already, but I'm going to jump in with both feet and throw my 2 cents in. Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, who was a man on fire on Fox, talking about how bad the coof was, how destructive the magical vax was. Then he got fired. Went independent. Started his own network, the Tucker Carlson Network. Started doing podcasts on X and YouTube. Blew up again. People were taking him seriously again. Then all of a sudden, he started doing interviews that you gotta scratch your head and go, what is he talking about? Then Charlie Kirk's passing. So, like I said in my intro, he went from defending Charlie Kirk's legacy. You know, we need to be united because the Democrats are going to be coming on hard and strong, and we need to call them out for the frauds and clowns that they are, to arguing and fighting with Ted Cruz on a podcast about how many people live in Iran, to, blaming the Jews in Israel and saying that they have, that they're pulling Trump by the nose. And now in a recent New York Times interview, gets caught lying flat out to the woman, the interviewer's face, about calling Trump the Antichrist. My, oh my, have the mighty have fallen. Yeah. What the f is wrong with Tucker?
Like this very first one. Let's start here. This is where Tucker begins raging against pro-Israel evangelicals.
We have so many Jews. I don't know how many Jews live in the United States, fewer than 10 million, I think. But because we have tens of millions of evangelical Christians who unquestioningly support Israel because they believe it's their theological duty to do so. So on this question hangs the future of the American economy and the lives of American service members. There's no more important question. And the effort to push me away from that question by calling me names, calling me a hater, saying I'm obsessed with Israel. Okay.
Well,
I would be grateful never to think about it again. I find
check out his last several interviews
and geostrategically irrelevant, except to the extent that we imbue it with relevance at the behest largely of evangelical Christians. So you can see there's a one-to-one correlation between these questions and the future of my country. Mike Huckabee and the people he represents have made it the nation's business.
So Tucker Carlson said there's something I agree with, that the future of the success of his country is a one-to-one to these evangelical Christians. He's right. It's just not the way that he said. Over the years on this show, how many times have we gone after the boomer generation collectively as a generation for how it wrecked America?
Yeah.
And then a bunch of well-meaning Christian boomers would email us, "Well, you're talking about me," and how many times did I say, "I'm not talking about you. You guys are the ones that were the counterculture to the counterculture." How many times have I made this point? Many. You've sat here next to me while I made that point, clarification, many times. Right. All right.
He's online.
Next clip. Tucker is confronted with whether or not he called Trump the Antichrist.
What I was saying, which is you cannot mock
this one is epic.
Other people's gods and put yourself in their place. Period. That is a deal killer for me. That's worse than the war with Iran, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I ask because, you've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
On your show, the day after Easter, you noted he did not put his hand on the Bible during his swearing-in ceremony as president. You said, and I'm quoting, maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because he affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And then on a recent show, you went further saying, here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist? Here's a leader who's
and let's go to the beam
mocking
footage.
The gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist? Well, who knows? I don't know where that comes from, but I know that those words never left my lips because I'm not sure I fully understand what the Antichrist is. If there's just one,
and this was
I've
less than a
actually tried
month
to
apart
understand it.
between what he said
I may have
then,
said some are
between what he
asking
says
that.
now.
I'm not weighing in on that because I don't understand it. Just to be totally
No, in
clear.
Revelations, obviously, the
Absolute just gaslighting you right to his face.
It's hard to watch.
I mean, that is literally depends on what the definition of the word is. That is literally,
Wow.
you'll choose your doctor, keep your doctor, whatever you want.
Remember that? For all you.
That's just gaslighting you right to your face. That's like, wait, my followers are retarded, and if I just tell them it was just an AI and a fake video, they'll do it.
Truth.
That's just someone who has so low regard for their own audience that that's who they think. You'll just literally, that's what cult leaders think. I'll just get them to just, let my people just do whatever I want them to do.
Hey, it works for Jim Jones.
I don't think there's
Just
any
saying.
more commentary needed for that. Aaron's comment is the best one. That's hard to watch. But let's keep going. Trump apparently has supernatural powers now.
Instead, there are a lot of cowardly people, as there always are, and Trump engenders cowardice in the people around him through intimidation. And there is a kind of quality that he has that's spellbinding, and I think it probably literally is a spell. And the effect is to weaken people around him and make them more compliant and more confused. And I've experienced this myself. You spend a
Then
day
I
with
was
Trump,
making the Antichrist.
sort of like you're in this kind of
Come on,
dreamland,
1 plus
like
1.
smoking hash or something. It's interesting, very interesting. And there may be a supernatural component to it. I'm not a theologian, but it's real, and anyone who's been around him can tell you it's real.
Jeez.
So Trump's a warlock. He's casting spells. Why doesn't he cast one to get all the legacy media people to stop lying about him and calling him Hitler?
Boom.
I mean, this is kind of like if Benny Hinn had the power. This guy's getting exposed and cornered by some acme, run-of-the-mill, fill-in-the-blank New York Times activist, which just goes to show you how shallow and retarded this all is and why he puts nobody on that can really challenge him. All right? And you're going to see maybe the most embarrassing of them all is this final clip. Watch this.
JD has been subject to, this is well known, but I'll just confirm it.
That last one was epic. This one's like, okay, you know what? Hold my beer. I'm going to top myself right now.
who are these people?
Around Marco Rubio. And they have been totally against JD Vance from the very beginning.
They.
Who do you mean specifically?
I don't know is the real answer. I don't know.
You're accusing people of treachery, so I'm wondering.
Well, I know there's been a lot of treachery for sure, and I know they were so mad about JD getting that job.
They.
I mean,
They? Who's they? Within the White House?
I don't know the answer to that. I've never worked there, so like if you don't work there, you can say you can say what you think you know, but it's hard to really know.
This is me looking skeptical.
Yeah, well, no, but it's not honest. Like I don't really know.
Except he said he could confirm. He started with, so I'll just go ahead and confirm it. There's that cadence thing you were just talking about there, though, Aaron. Where
That is right out of Candace Owens' playbook. Right out of her playbook, man. Holy shit.
And of course,
wow.
JD and Rubio basically sing off the same song sheet. They talk about being on a ticket together. Again, we start with let's blindly and universally try to sabotage the voting bloc that made the complaints we currently have even possible. We all would have been over. We'd have been over 30 years ago if it weren't for white evangelical voters defying their boomer generation. Those are the ones who believed in prophetic Israel. Those are the ones he's condemning there. So let's go right after the base of people that are the heart and soul of why there's any of America left at all. And then make us Tucker Carlson is a malevolent presence. Be warned. And in that interview right there, he essentially tries to sabotage our existing coalition, which could not be held together without white evangelicals, and now is trying to sabotage what we hope is our future coalition, which is an alliance of JD and Rubio. So now he's trying to sabotage us on the back end and on the front end. No, this isn't the new Charlie Kirk, and he couldn't have held Charlie's jockstrap, frankly.
Facts. Facts.
That's all I got. I had a minute. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Well, that civil war you said seems like he's trying to foment between JD and Rubio fits nicely with my prediction that he's going to run for president of the United States. He has to do that in order to have an opening.
It is entirely possible we were never actually fans of Tucker Carlson. We were just fans of maybe what turned out to be some fantastic writers that he had at Fox News.
I think that's very possible, too.
Wow.
Another thing, he claims he doesn't use teleprompters and nothing's written. Total, complete lie.
Oh,
Absolute
that's
gaslight.
bullshit. That's
What a
absolute
minute in this
bullshit.
interview.
Yeah. But I ask because, you've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
On your show, the day after Easter, you noted he did not put his hand on the Bible during his swearing-in ceremony as president. You said, and I'm quoting, maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because he affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And then on a recent show, you went further saying, here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist? Here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist? Well, who knows?
My thoughts. This is longer than I thought it was going to be, so I'm going to do some serious editing in all this just to get to the meat and potatoes of the interview, of his breakdown of Tucker. But that was masterful. That was chef's kiss as far as breakdown when it comes to Tucker. Like I said in the beginning, he's been doing this since January in regards to deconstructing of one Tucker Carlson. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing to watch him go from roasting, China, the lab leak, and talking about how, that the pandemic was a pandemic, and then when the vaccine comes out, destroys the narrative of the vaccine, and saying that this vaccine is dangerous, you may not want to take it because of X, Y, and Z. He gets fired, goes podcast, and then just since Charlie Kirk's assassination, talk about going off the deep end. I mean, literally going down a 90-degree slope with no brakes. And I mean, this guy is just, wow. It's just unbelievable. And like I said, I was a huge fan of Tucker's. I mean, I watched him for the majority of his time on Fox News when he took over for Bill O'Reilly. And, but it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And the one thing that I've always said is that I've always got, when it comes to Israel, let me take off a side road on this, is that when it comes to Israel, there are two different Israels. You have the government of Israel, and then you have the prophetic, biblical Israel, ancient Israel. Now, ancient Israel, I've got no issues with, none whatsoever, because it is prophetic according to God's word. But when it comes to governmental Israel, when it comes to political Israel, that's where I have a problem. Bibi Netanyahu, that's what I have a problem. Is he leading Trump by the nose? I don't think so. But there are just, two peas in a pod? Absolutely. That's where I have the problem. But with Tucker, just like Candace, I mean, Charlie Kirk gets killed. All of a sudden, Candace goes off the deep end. And I mean, off the rails, seriously off the rails. And Tucker is just a truly disappointment. A truly disappointment. And like I said, it's sad to watch. It's absolutely sad to watch that this guy has gone on, has just gone, all Jim Jones, regarding his verbal Kool-Aid, and his followers are just slurping it up. They are just like Candace, just like Nick Fuentes, they are slurping them up. And he's right in the instance is like, it's easy to see your enemies in front of you, like the left. It's easy to see where they're coming from because you know where they're coming from. They're talking trash out of their ass. And that's all they do. Attack, 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 attack. They can't out-debate you. They can't out-fact you. They can't out-receipt you. This is who they are. But when you got those who are wearing your own damn jersey, who are stabbing you in the back, that's a fucking problem. Because that problem is going to cost us huge later this year and possibly in 28. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is what's next. And once again, that was Steve Day. So the Steve Day Show, The Blaze. Check out the interview in its totality. Like I said, I'm going to edit this down, but check it out. And also just check out Tucker Carlson, with an open mind. Just go from, just finding breakdown, a montage of everything that he started with from when he was at Charlie Kirk's memorial, where he kind of a little bit went off the rails, to now full on, no breaks, don't give up. And I'm just lined out through my teeth. But like I said, with that being said, I'm Giles Borgonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this, please leave a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.